before. Knowing how close the twins are and what an injustice Patricia's disqualification was to Sylvianne last year. To see her now in the red coming up upon Erin Baker 11 miles into the run. She's going to pass into second place very soon, and to know that she's just maybe a minute behind first place means that we could see a very sweet victory today here at the Ironman indeed. Paula Newby-Fraser was at the front of a 3-horse race, a thoroughbred race. She was running hard, but she was running scared. She was sweating profusely, feeling the strain. And for good reason. Sylvianne Puntous was striding with a vengeance. The angelic face now deadly serious. Sylvianne passed Baker into second place with a focused stare that could have burned a hole in the asphalt. No response to Baker's glances. There's a fine line between pushing hard enough to win and pushing beyond yourself and not finishing. Newby-Fraser needed to cut back. Aid station oases cropped up at each mile marker. Sylvianne now also needed 10 seconds of walking at each one, but a disciplined 10 seconds. She fell back into her good pace immediately each mile. And now, Sylvianne Puntous and Paula Newby-Fraser struggled side by side. The challenge for first place was issued. 7 miles to go. It was crumble or survive.
The crowd waited at the finish line, and it was just after 3:30 in the afternoon, the equivalent of a full 8-hour working day plus a coffee break since the start, when Dave Scott came into the home stretch. Remarkably fresh. Fresh enough to be his own cheerleader as he coasted to the finish line for his amazing 6th victory in the Bud Light Ironman Triathlon World Championship. His time, 8 hours, 34 minutes, 13 and 2/10 seconds. Considerably short of his record for the course, but victory was as sweet as ever. His wife, Anna, was there for the victory hug. Mark Allen would make it in second place, about 11 minutes behind Scott, and about 7 minutes ahead of Greg Stewart, who finished third. Mike Teague was fourth, and Ken Glah, who led for a while, was fifth. But Scott, Dave Scott, again was the winner. Dave Scott knows something about the Ironman that no one else knows, but he isn't telling. And Scott isn't telling Allen either. Mark looked okay as he came to the finish, but he really wasn't. Taken to the medical tent, he was pumped with 3 liters of glucose solution. He didn't respond. He had to be rushed to the hospital, where he was found to be severely dehydrated and bleeding internally. Mark Allen would return to race another day. But on this particular day, he had not only given his all, he had given more than he had to give.
5 miles to go. It had been a long day, a very hard-pressed race. Sylvianne Puntous, Paula Newby-Fraser. And about 50 yards back now, Erin Baker. Nobody was about to back down after this much time on the clock. Baker here reminded me of a soldier, unswerving in her oath. These athletes know their bodies well. They precisely measure what is left, what is needed. Both Puntous and Newby-Fraser had to have a 10 to 15 second fix of walking each mile. That brief moment allowed enough recuperation to continue. And this was the key. Baker was running at the same pace as the other two, but never needed to walk at the aid stations. Just that 15-second walk per mile over the last 10 miles of the course was crucial. Once again, they walked. Puntous, as usual, eyes blazing only straight ahead. And as Sylvianne once again jogged out of the aid station, Newby-Fraser now was broken. Newby-Fraser had reached her physical parameters honorably, and now had to relinquish her place in the battle for victory to Baker. Baker looked like she got a big emotional boost moving into second. Paula Newby-Fraser had nothing to regret. She had gone all out. And now it was a two-woman race. And Sylvianne Puntous, the two best runners of the field. Sylvianne could match Baker's pace, but could she forgo her 15-second regrouping and still keep it together? It seemed the aid stations would tell the tale. Again, Sylvianne had to walk, and after all, only those legs and that heart could judge their own limits. And at least on this day, it was Erin Baker, whose legs and heart knew no limits at all.
Erin Baker of New Zealand had said it earlier, that to win the Ironman would be her Olympic gold medal. And now, she had done it. Had not only won the race, but in the process had set a new women's course record, as would the other two of the top three finishers. She had bided her time, she had waited for a moment, and now it was over. Sylvianne Puntous, running for two. Last year, remember, her sister Patricia had apparently won the race, but then was disqualified for drafting in the bike race. This time she had to run all the way in the marathon, knowing that her sister had dropped out earlier in this year's competition. But she had finished second, and now Paula Newby-Fraser looked like a winner when she came to the tape in third place. Paula Newby-Fraser, age 25, of Zimbabwe. How much does it take out of them? The pictures in the medical tent told that story, including Sylvianne Puntous. Out in the heat, the other 100 ran or walked on, each for his or her own special reason. Some would be out until midnight and beyond.